It's the golden age of Dodger baseball. Why? Because the Dodgers have owners who want to win. What a novel concept. Let's talk about it here on All Dodgers. Coming at you live from my mom's basement here in beautiful Pleasant Grove, Utah. I am Jeff Snider. This is the All Dodgers podcast, part of the Bleav Network of podcasts, presented by FanDuel. I am Jeff. I am solo tonight, most likely remaining solo. There's a chance Clint might jump on, but it seems like most likely it's just going to be me. I'm just adjusting that camera a little bit because I can. Anyway, yeah, welcome. It's been a while since I've done a solo show. I used to do these a lot on Sunday evenings and probably get back to it now. Kind of settling in at the new day job. We are just like a month away from pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training, so there will be more to talk about at some point. Right now, the only real stuff to talk about as far as Dodgers news remains rumors. You know, Clint talked yesterday about the two signings, only one of which is official so far. You know what? I'll give you my quick rundown on the signings of Andy Ibanez, and they claimed somebody Fitzgerald. What was his name? Ryan? It was probably Ryan, just because usually when it's a name I can't remember the first name, it ends up being somebody who has the same name as one of my children. And let's see, Ryan Fitzgerald. I was right. I do have a son named Ryan, so that explains why I couldn't remember his name. And yeah, you know, neither of these moves have any bearing on any big moves the Dodgers might make. I don't hate the Ibanez signing. He can play all over the field at pretty good defense, and he hits lefties pretty well. And so, you know, you think of the Kike Hernandez role that we know Kike is not going to be playing at the beginning of the season because he's recovering from surgery. So, you know, if Ibanez can fill that role, you know, we'll see how the roster shakes out. Some of this Fitzgerald, he was available, so they claimed him. I didn't even look because I'm not really talking about these guys, but let's see. And maybe Clint went over this yesterday. I haven't had a chance to watch yesterday's show with Clint yesterday. If you missed it, yesterday was a very special All Dodgers After Dark in the morning where Richie got to say F words in his voicemail and Clint got to probably say some F words too. So, but Ryan Fitzgerald has two option years left. So Fitzgerald is almost a nothing burger. Like, you know, he's minor league depth at this point. He'll start the season in AAA unless somebody's hurt. Ibanez, definitely, you know, they signed him to a big league deal. He is a guy who they have a role in mind for him, and we'll just have to see what it is. But you know what? He plays good defense at a lot of positions and hits lefties well. So there's definitely a role player option there for a guy like him. But that's not really what we're talking about because going forward, you know, there's still big moves to be made. Jim Duquette reported tonight that the Dodgers are one of three teams, one of the three final teams in the running for Kyle Tucker, along with the Blue Jays and the Mets. We're going to talk about that first. And basically, it's kind of telling that there's not more teams in on these guys, especially, you know, who knows how much of it has to do with uncertainty over the labor situation. Will there be a lockout after this year? I don't know. I still don't think there will be. Not sure there won't be, but it's what Scott Adams used to call the law of slow-moving disasters or something like that, where anything that's that obvious that you can see coming from that far away, you got time to avoid it. And it would make sense for everyone involved if they avoided a lockout. Everybody makes more money when the players are playing baseball. And, you know, so hopefully they can get it figured out. But maybe that's part of the reason that Kyle Tucker's market is slow in developing. I also think the big reason is Kyle Tucker is a different kind of player than Juan Soto and Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani obviously is one of a kind in baseball history. Juan Soto is probably the best hitter in baseball. hitting free agency at age 26 like he did, he was, not one of a kind, but a very unique situation in free agency. And so those guys getting the huge contracts they did doesn't necessarily mean that Kyle Tucker is going to get that just because he is the biggest name on the free agent market this year, because not all biggest free agents on the market are created equal. And so from a top-down look, this year's free agency is less, the top player is less top than it has been the last 2 years. Tucker is a great player. I made that case the other day. I am a huge fan of Kyle Tucker as a player. I think he legitimately Hall of Fame caliber hitter. Now, to get to the Hall of Fame, you have to do it for a long time. And he hasn't yet. But he's done it as long as he's been in the big leagues. And that is important. But even with that said, he's not as good a hitter as Juan Soto. Very few people are. Maybe nobody in Major League Baseball right now is as good a hitter as Juan Soto. Kyle Tucker isn't. He's one of the top 10 hitters in baseball probably, but he's not a top 1 or 2 hitter like Juan Soto is. And so the market's going to be different. And the fact that it's now the Dodgers, the Mets, and the Blue Jays, the fact that the Dodgers are even involved still, are one of the 3 finalists, means that Tucker is at least considering taking a shorter deal. I'm positive. There was talk in our Discord server today, which, by the way, if you want to join it, go to patreon.com/realfrg, and $5 a month gets you access to our Discord server. But somebody was talking and said they predict that Kyle Tucker's contract amount will start with a 6. And I disagreed. I just don't see it. I don't see Kyle Tucker getting $600 million. Like I was thinking about it after we had that little conversation that I think the most likely first number for Kyle Tucker's contract is a 3. And then I think a 2 and a 4 are kind of equally likely. And then I would think a 1 is more likely than a 5 or a 6. Because I think I could see him taking a 3-year deal worth $100 and something million, some huge number, even $150 million, somewhere in that ballpark. I just don't see any team giving him, you need years and average annual value to get to $600 million. I don't think Kyle Tucker's getting that. I just don't think that's happening. And so if it's the Dodgers, I would guess, like if the Dodgers signed Kyle Tucker, my guess on the contract length would be 5 years with an opt-out or 3 in there for Tucker at around 200, low 200s, somewhere in that ballpark, 40-ish million a year with some opt-outs, maybe some deferrals just because they can. By the way, Alex Bregman's deal with the Cubs has deferrals. So it's not just the Dodgers. It never was just the Dodgers. Clint just texted me and said he might want to join. I'm telling him if you want to come on in. There. We'll see if he joins. But the other 2 teams, the Mets and the Blue Jays, I'm just going to jump in really quick. I've been starring a couple comments real quick before we talk about the Mets and the Blue Jays. Richie says, Jeff's first solo show of 2026 and starting his first full year, ignoring me in the chat. I'm not sure who this Richard Flores guy is, but welcome to the show. We love having newcomers here. So thanks, Richard, for the chat. BC says, every time the Dodgers won the World Series, they've acquired a superstar before the season. 2020, it was Mookie. 2024, it was Shohei and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And 2025 was Blake Snell. The good news is they still have all 4 of those superstars now. And so, plus a Freddie Freeman, the Freeman thing kind of throws it off because they acquired Freddie Freeman and then didn't win the World Series. So it's That's more of a curiosity than a formula, probably. But getting the best players is always a good idea. Enigma says, I've never heard a convincing, serious baseball argument against signing Kyle Tucker, which we talked about last week a little bit. The Dodger Blue says it's telling that the Cubs traded for Tucker and chose not to make an offer to him. I don't know that it is telling. I mean, it's telling about something that I'm going to talk about, which is that the Cubs don't act like a big market team. I don't know if the Cubs know that they're a big market team. And so while yes, it is telling, I don't know that it's telling anything about Kyle Tucker. That people want to read into that, the Cubs, they had him for a year and they're not interested in him. So there must be something wrong with him. There could be something wrong with them. And it's a team that's won the World Series one time in the last 120 years. Yeah, it could be something wrong with them, not something wrong with him. I just, until I hear anybody who's ever actually met the guy have negative things to say about him, I'm not going to just assume that the fans who are making things up are correct. I just don't know. Dodger Blue also says Tucker may not be impressing in the leadership department. That's why he's a perfect fit on the Dodgers, because Dodgers have the leadership. You know what? Get a guy who can just come in and hit. And we had that conversation in the Discord today too about Juan Soto specifically and why some people aren't impressed with him. And at that much money, you got to be a team leader. You got to be a vocal leader. And I think a team needs leadership. It doesn't need to come from the high paid players. Miguel Rojas is a team leader. Kike Hernandez is a team leader. And yes, some of the high paid players are too. Mookie Betts is, Freddie Freeman is, Clayton Kershaw was, but it doesn't have to be the superstars. The 1988 Dodgers had the stuntmen. Mickey Hatcher was a leader on that team. Dude sucked. I had a couple big hits for the Dodgers in the World Series, but overall, Mickey Hatcher wasn't a good baseball player, but he was a good leader, and he was very important to that team. But it doesn't have to be the superstar, and that's the great thing about the Dodgers situation with Kyle Tucker, is that even if people are right that he's not a team leader, okay, he's a great player. That's what I want on the Dodgers. As long as he's not actively sleeping with his teammates' wives and poisoning other teammates, just go play really good baseball. And guess what? Let these other guys rub off on you. There's so much value in the Dodgers clubhouse that can turn anybody, even a superstar like Kyle Tucker, can help him get even better. And so that's what I love about this Dodgers team, that they don't need to sign a leader. They need to sign good players. And so that's why I think that Kyle Tucker, the Dodgers are the best fit for Kyle Tucker. Super chat, $2 from Don't Care 187. Clint's Eagles wings have been clipped. Laughing emoji, Rams thumbs up. I believe that's football references. I did see that Clint's favorite team lost today in the playoffs. Dropped a bunch of passes on third down or something. So, yeah, you know what? That's why I just don't care about football. I don't need any other sport to get me depressed. I've got enough stress during baseball season. So talking about the Blue Jays and the Mets, the other two teams in the running for Kyle Tucker at this point. Let's talk first about the Mets. Why would Kyle Tucker sign with the Mets? You look at their team. They've had dysfunction in the clubhouse. They've got talent, but they haven't won anything in a long, long time. They haven't proven that they know how to put together a consistent winning team. And if the money, I feel like the Mets specifically would have to vastly outbid the Blue Jays and the Dodgers for Tucker to consider going there. And maybe that's my bias. I think that, New York sports fans are very proud of what a-holes they are. They think they're part of the team and part of the story, and they think that their tough love, helps the situation. They're very proud of it. Not everybody's cut out to play in New York. Yeah, you know what? It might be true, but I see that as a flaw with New York fans, not something to be proud of. And, that that's my personal opinion. That's my personal mindset. I think that fans should support their favorite team. I think that if you as a fan are making it actively harder to get the best players on your team because you have some weird gatekeeping, like, got to make sure he's tough enough to play here. Like, why would you want that? Like, if you want the best players, some guys just don't want to play in New York because it's not fun. You have to have a special kind of personality. And it's not a personality that makes you better at baseball. Not a personality that makes you a more valuable baseball player. It's completely unrelated to baseball. Like, I totally, if it's things that are related to baseball, I understand why you want to worry about those things. But if there's a guy who just thinks, you know what, I don't want to have to worry about if I go 0 for 4, is my family going to get death threats? Are people just going to be talking crap about me on the radio constantly where my family is going to hear it? Like, if I don't want to have to deal with that, that doesn't mean that I'm not tough enough to be a big league player. It means there's 28 teams where that's not the case. Maybe not 28. There's other media markets that are harsh, probably not as harsh as New York, but there's 25 teams where you can go and play and not worry about that kind of stuff. And so why are you going to make it harder for your favorite team to sign the best players? That's my thought on the Mets. I think they would have to drastically overpay like they did for Juan Soto. And maybe Soto wanted to go there. I don't know. Bloodhound Lil Jeff says New York fans are proud idiots like my grandfather with dementia. That's rude to say about your grandfather, but I'm glad he's proud of you. I just have... Richie says the Mets clubhouse issues can be summed up in 4 letters, SOTO. Juan Soto's been on that team for 1 year. The Mets clubhouse has had issues for a long time. Soto is not the cause of those issues. Obviously, he didn't fix those issues. But yeah, I believe Juan Soto is a great player who, he's not causing problems. He's not fixing them. I think when he was in San Diego, I think Machado and Tatis and the other, obnoxious people rubbed off on him. But ultimately, Soto's not the problem in New York. But New York is a problem. Crash says it's the New York media, not the fans. I think it's the same thing. The media is fans. Fans love the media. Like, New York sports fans love Mad Dog Russo. I don't understand how anybody could love Mad Dog Russo. He is so obnoxious, so dumb, like, terrible point. Like that Frank the Tank guy. Somebody in the Discord today put in a tweet from Frank the Tank as like support of something about the Mets. And I'm like, okay, that guy is famously over emotional, constantly displaying what a moron he is when it comes to baseball. Like they're just, and so media, fans, it's all the same. It's the New York atmosphere, the New York mindset. And it is, I don't understand why anybody want to play there. Obviously some people do. Aaron Judge chose to stay there. But I have a hard time seeing Kyle Tucker choosing the Mets unless they drastically outbid both the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. We got a $5 super chat from Dirty Don. I never understood they couldn't handle New York shtick. Yeah, it's silly. I mean, and it's true. I think some people, whether you say they can't handle it or they just choose not to play in that environment, either way, it's the same result. Guys don't want to play there, and it's not for baseball reasons. And that's what it boils down to for me. The Dodgers make their sales pitches on baseball reasons. And that's why they're successful, because they have proven, they've put their money where their mouth is. Hey, we want to win. We're going to do everything we can to win. And we're just going to go do it. Raul Robles, $5 super chat. Steve Cohen is an example of a fan with billions thinking it's easy to just throw money and thinking it will make your favorite team better. Yeah, I respect Steve Cohen and what he's trying to do there with the Mets, because he even said when he bought the team, he was looking at the Dodgers as the model franchise. And he's trying to do that. He's spending money. problem is the Dodgers have the best front office in baseball too. And that's something that some of that is luck. Like, I don't know how we got lucky enough to get Andrew Friedman. And Andrew Friedman does a great job putting the team together around him. I mean, part of it is the Dodgers are willing to pay a lot of smart people. It's not just, here's a good GM. The Dodgers have, a dozen really, really smart people working in the front office. And yeah, they lose some once in a while. They lost a guy to the Rockies this offseason. They'll lose guys once in a while, but they are willing to pay people. They invest in the team, not just on the field, but they invest in the front office. They invest in the facilities. They invest in the minor league development program, all that stuff. Dodgers do it right. Steve Cohen, if he keeps following the Dodger blueprint, maybe things will get better for the Mets. But it'll still be New York with those fans and that media. And I don't know. I don't know that it's going to be turning around for them. Dan Marino asked Jeff, where's Clint? Clint is home now. I don't know if he's going to be hopping on or not. We will see. Either he will or he won't. But Clint did a solo show yesterday. So Sunday nights, sometimes it's just me. Sometimes Clint is with me. I think I saw another super chat come in. $2 from Dirty Don. I'm liking the new Richard Flores guy. Yeah, new listeners are always fun. Good to have them around. Just glancing at the chat. So that's the Mets side of things. Then there's the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are going for it. The Blue Jays are a very good team. They were within, the inches, literally, of winning the World Series a couple times last year. They have added to their team this offseason. The Blue Jays are a good team that is going for it. I can absolutely understand why they would appeal to Kyle Tucker, why Tucker might want to go there. The problem is, there's been reports for the Blue Jays, along with my overall topic for tonight, that if the Blue Jays were to sign Kyle Tucker, they would need to trade Anthony Santander, some of these other guys who are making more money to clear up some payroll. And a lot of that just comes down to what people mean by need. Like, are the Blue Jays saying we can't sign Kyle Tucker unless we trade away some other salary? I don't know. And that's something that it seems sometimes like a distinction without a difference, but it really is meaningful that, okay, we're going to go get who we want to get. And then, we're going to try to clear up some payroll. Obviously, we don't want to pay more than we have to. If we can find somebody to take some of this money off our hands, okay, great. But that's different than we can't sign this guy unless we can get this other payroll off the books. And that is kind of, I don't know which boat the Blue Jays fall in, honestly. So I don't know how likely they are to go get Kyle Tucker. I do think it's down to between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. And in recent years, when it's down to the Dodgers and Blue Jays, that has traditionally done well for the Dodgers. And maybe that means that next October, Blue Jays fans will be chanting, we don't need you at Kyle Tucker in a Dodger uniform, like they did at Shohei Ohtani this year. I don't know. I think the Blue Jays are a good team. There's an appeal of playing for the only team in a country. So you have the entire team or the entire country rooting for you. All of that. Obviously I would choose the Dodgers, but I'm a Dodger fan, I can understand why Kyle Tucker might choose the Blue Jays, but it's going to come down to what are they offering. I don't know if they're in the same boat as the Dodgers, looking at the short-term high average annual value, or if they're looking for a bigger overall contract. We'll have to see. But in the end, this is all based on a Jim Duquette report, which again, Jim Duquette on the spectrum of how much you should trust an insider, Jim Duquette is somewhere on there. He's definitely not on the untrustworthy end, but he's also not maybe the most plugged in. But he absolutely knows people in the game. And so I wouldn't take it as gospel that it really is down to those three teams, but it seems reasonable enough to me. And I think I think the Dodgers have a really good shot. And honestly, coming into the offseason, as much as we all, even though I noticed when Clint and Alana did their first show with their new co-host the other day on Dodgers territory with Katie Wu, and Katie mentioned that the Dodgers coming into the offseason were the favorites for Kyle Tucker. I don't think they felt like the favorites. Like, I think the Dodgers were only the favorites because people were in the mindset, well, Dodgers just signed everybody, so they'll probably sign Tucker too. But like logically, I don't think they were the favorites coming into the offseason. But now that Tucker's market has maybe come back down to earth a little bit, as expectations maybe come back down to earth, the fact that the Dodgers are a legit top 2 or 3 contender for Tucker is a little bit surprising to me. Like, I always knew there was a chance they would sign him, but we said this from day one of the offseason. The only way the Dodgers get Kyle Tucker is if he goes for a shorter contract, high average annual value. And, it always came down to how likely is it that will happen. And it seems like it's getting more and more likely. And that's cool. GI makes a good point. Jim Duquette is decidedly pro Mets. Maybe the reason the Mets are listed as one of the final 3 is because Duquette has connections to the Mets. And so maybe wishing it was so more than thinking it's so. But all of that said, Dodgers have a legitimate chance at Kyle Tucker. And part of the reason for that is because the Dodgers are willing to spend. They are willing to put their money where their mouth is to go out and build a contender year after year. And it seems like some big market team ownerships aren't willing to do that. And in just a second, I'm going to talk about that and why that might be and how disappointing that is as a fan of those teams and how happy I am that the team I'm a fan of is committed. But first, let's talk a little bit about our friends over at FanDuel. There are some things about next season that you can put some money on. There's still the how many home runs will guys hit odds. The over-under for Aaron Judge is still 49.5. Over-under for Shohei Ohtani is still 48.5. And the over-under for Pete Alonso is 36.5. As I said the other day, I wouldn't put money either way on Shohei Ohtani. I think he's probably going to be under 48.5 just because it's hard to hit 50 homers 3 years in a row. I wouldn't put it past him though, and I definitely wouldn't bet against him. And so I would just avoid that one. But the 49.5 for Aaron Judge and the 36.5 for Pete Alonso, I expect Aaron Judge to miss some time with injury next year. And so I think I would take the under on 49.5. And Pete Alonso, I'd take the over on 36.5 if I was, looking at that. And just looking at the World Series odds really quick, the Dodgers remain at plus 270. The Blue Jays are at plus 1,300, tied with the Mariners, Phillies, and Braves. Only the Yankees are ahead of those teams at plus 1,000. But the Dodgers remain the big favorites there because they're the best team. So check that out over at FanDuel.com. And thanks to FanDuel for presenting all Dodgers. So talking about ownership groups, there was a report today that the reason the Red Sox missed out on re-signing Alex Bregman was because they were unwilling to go to give him a no trade clause. They said it's a franchise team policy, no trade clauses, and so they wouldn't give him that, and so they missed out on him. And you think about this: the Red Sox signed Alex Bregman. They traded away Rafael Devers, their franchise third baseman, partly because they had signed Bregman, and then they end up only having Bregman for 1 year. It's kind of wild that, and in a way, not giving a no trade clause is a baseball decision. I think that having a blanket policy, we never do no trade clauses, is probably bad business. Because look, if there's certain guys who, if it's a no trade clause that gets him to sign with you, you do it. I don't know if Alex Bregman is that guy. I don't know if he's the guy you make the exception for, But sounds like, at least the way they're talking, they wouldn't make it as an exception for anybody. And I think that's silly. I think that, every player is different. Every situation is different. And so having any blanket policy like that seems kind of silly to me. And I think the reason they have that blanket policy is because they're kind of cheapskates. And, it's kind of crazy to see the Red Sox being cheapskates. The Cubs, they signed Alex Bregman, but now there's rumors that they might trade, some of their other guys who make good money to clear up payroll. And this is just talk among fans right now. So maybe they're not as worried about the luxury tax as people are saying. But if they are, that's sad. I mean, the Cubs, Chicago, it's a big market and they make a lot of money. And we talk about the money, and Clint talked about this a little bit yesterday, from what I understand, that, pushing back against the idea of it's not my money. Because a lot of fans feel that way, that, it is my money. I'm paying for tickets, and it is, there's a mindset, I think, among some people that Shohei Ohtani's contract is driving up the ticket prices and the concession prices and stuff. And I don't know that that's the case, simply because I had season tickets to the Dodgers for 10 years. In those 10 years that I had season tickets, my price, hey, there's Clint hopping in. I'm going to switch over to my headphones and switch my audio to go through my headphones, and then I'm going to let Clint in. So Clint is here, and Clint is here. What's up, Clint?
What is going on? What are we talking about?
We're talking about baseball, Los Angeles Dodgers specifically. We were going to talk about football, but I didn't want to make you cry. So, but
hey, you know what? I have things to say about football, but I'm happy baseball season is almost here.
Yeah. And football season's over. At least you got that going for you, Yeah. But I was just saying, in the 10 years that I had season tickets to the Dodgers, my ticket prices tripled. And that was before they signed Shohei Ohtani. It was before they signed, I think Freddie Freeman's first year was my last year with tickets.
That sounds about right.
Freeman wasn't a big contract, like the prices go up because they're going to go up. The Dodgers ownership don't need to raise ticket prices to cover Shohei Ohtani's contract, to cover Yamamoto's contract. They're doing that with endorsements, with merchandise sales, all that stuff. Ticket prices go up for every team because they can. Teams say, hey, we play in LA. We have a fan base of millions of fans, and we can sell out our stadium every night, even if we raise the prices. So they do it. Yeah, in my perfect world, if I was king of the world, there would be a cap on ticket prices. Honestly, forget salary cap, forget any of that other stuff. Cap the ticket prices. But the problem is, even with the Dodgers, if you did that, well, then you'd still have people buying them and reselling them on StubHub for more, and it would still be expensive to go. Like, a lot of the money people pay to go to Dodger games isn't going to the Dodgers. It's going to third-party resellers or whatever. Yeah. And so all that said, yes, it's not our money. It is our money. We do pay for these salaries, but if the Dodgers sign Kyle Tucker, they're not going to need to raise ticket prices to do it. If the Dodgers raise ticket prices, which they will, it will be because raising ticket prices is what you do every single year if you're the owner of a baseball team. And so,
yeah, the team's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a price we pay when the team we watch is good. I don't know. I mean, I would like to see the numbers, how they kind of counteract the additions of a Freddie Freeman, of a Mookie Betts contract, of Shohei Ohtani. I don't know, man. I think we're paying part of it at least.
Well, I think we are, but I think that the reason ticket prices went up more is because they thought, hey, people will pay even more now. It's not we need to charge more to cover these contracts. It's we have a more exciting team. People will pay more. We have the Japanese market now. People will pay more. And so ticket prices will always be what the market will bear. They will never have any correlation with how much teams are paying in salary. And the way we know that for sure is because even these cheapskate teams raise their prices every year. And so you've got teams that are saying, well, we can't sign this guy. The Phillies. The Phillies are saying in order to get in on Bo Bichette, they'd need to trade Alec Bohm and or Nick Castellanos to offset the salary. It's friggin' Philadelphia. Like, it's a big market. Like, it used to be the capital of the United States, Clint. Like, this is a big city where they play baseball. Only team in town. They don't have to share it like New York and Chicago do. It's just Philadelphia, just the Phillies. And yet they're saying, well, we can't sign this guy unless we can get somebody else to pay for these other guys. And it's like, quit pinching your pennies. I just put my syllables right. I said, pinching your pennies, don't either one of them, pen your penchies, but it's ridiculous to me that these big market teams are acting like small market teams, because I've been to a Phillies game. Guess what? Tickets weren't cheap. Yeah. And the stadium was pretty full. Like they've got what's his name? Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber. They've got guys who they're selling jerseys for. They've got money coming in, and yet they're pinching pennies. And it's crazy to me, and it makes me so glad, Clint, to be a fan of the Dodgers, because as it says at the bottom of the screen there, the Dodgers act like they play in a big market, because they do.
They do. Yeah. I hear the Angels are trying to pretend they're in a big market, but we don't need to talk about that. Yeah, the Dodgers, we talk about this franchise, this organization, this front office, this ownership puts their money where their mouth is. They reinvest into their organization. They are owners. They are businessmen, but they are also fans of this organization. We saw like Stevie Cohen there with the Mets in the early going, and we'll definitely, I want to circle back to Richie's super chat there, but the Mets in the early going, it seems like it was going to be like, oh, damn, this is a fan with a butt ton of money who really wants this team to be good. And, last year, last offseason kind of capped off that feeling with the $765 million deal for Juan Soto. And then this offseason, it goes shed some payroll, jettison some players, kind of don't know where they're at yet. The Dodgers are very good at towing the business line and the fandom line. And you're seeing a lot of these other organizations, they are a business. Red Sox feel like more of a business these days. Love what the Cubs are doing. I don't know how much. I'm assuming you already talked about the Cubs, but loving things like that. Phillies,
unless the Cubs need to trade guys to clear up money for Alex Bregman, it's like, just sign the guy and don't worry about the money. Do things for baseball reasons. That's my big thing with the Dodgers. Like, they do things for baseball reasons. When they didn't sign Bryce Harper, it was because they weren't comfortable giving him that many years for baseball reasons, not for money reasons, but for baseball reasons. The reason that they're not willing to give Kyle Tucker, 12 years is baseball reasons, not money reasons. And so that's what I love. And it's a distinction that I think a lot of fans don't necessarily totally grasp, the difference between, I don't want to sign this guy for 10 years. It's not because I'm a cheapskate. It's because I don't want to have 6 years of a guy on my roster that, isn't contributing the way that I need him to. And, if the Dodgers had signed Bryce Harper, they wouldn't have had right field open for Mookie Betts. Like they made the baseball decisions, and then they made the baseball decision that Mookie Betts was a guy they were willing to go the 12-year deal with or whatever. And we'll see how that works out. But they make baseball decisions, not money decisions, and that's something that wasn't always the case. Like the Dodgers' last two ownership groups before this current one. You had what's his name, whose name we're not going to say, and before that you had what's his name, whose name we're also not going to say. That they were just it was a business, and they were looking at their P&L statements a lot more than they were looking at their W&L statements. I like that. I just coined that.
That's pretty good.
Nailed it.
Put that on Garm right there.
I'm gonna lean back in my chair, baby.
It's like, hey, that's it. We nailed it. Hit the wrap it up button. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. I think there is a world where there's a nice blend of both. David Lee with the 499 chat. I'll hit the gong because I can now. It says teams like the Mets are playing chess while the Dodgers are playing professional baseball. It is professional baseball. It's also a little bit of a game to them. They are having fun, and I think I don't know. I mean, obviously this offseason isn't over. I think they're going to try to find a way to challenge themselves a little bit more in trying to go back to back to back. I don't know. That's a whole different tangent where obviously I just popped in here and I don't know all the things that you've talked about, but still.
You weren't listening to every word before you jumped in?
I was not. I came for the most important thing, which is, P&L versus WNL.
Yeah. Going back to Richie's $2 super chat. He just supporting that. He says in 2013 his seats were $1,200 for two. Today they're $2,400. So and I think Richie's gotten off a little easy because, like I said, mine nearly tripled. His have only doubled. So maybe some areas of the stadium, but even there, doubling in 12 years. That's And
I mean that is a stark difference too. You're talking about 2013. That's the first year, the first full season of Guggenheim. That's just months after they say, hey, they're telling us they're going to invest in this organization, trading for Hanley, adding Aegon and company and all that kind of stuff. They said the money's going to go to where it should go, which is the field, instead of to Jamie McCourt's haircuts and her boyfriend / limo driver or whatever it was. Said Jamie McCourt, not the other guy. $2,400, still very expensive, and it should be noted. That's a partial plan. That's I think just like the bobblehead plan or something like that. So
2013 was my first year too. So it was.
No, you guys can talk about it at the man cave.
Yeah, I meant to stop by there when I was driving through last week, but I got off at the wrong exit. It was
the wrong Devore exit. Yeah. Oh God.
What do I got on this other little thing? This is kind of how I let off this thing. It is the golden age of Dodger baseball. Like the Dodgers, did you know that before this stretch, the Dodgers had never gone to the postseason 3 years in a row in the history of their franchise? Don Mattingly was the first Dodgers manager ever to take the Dodgers to the postseason 3 years in a row. And obviously, it's easier to get to the postseason these days than it was back when the postseason was just the World Series. But still, I mean, the Dodgers have won their division at 12 out of 13 years? Is that where we're at now? 12 out of 13 years.
Yeah.
Yep. So that means that they would have gone to the playoffs, at least since divisional play started, all those years. This isn't just the result of, they've been a wild card 8 times and they won division 3 times. And, no, they are legitimately a dominant team. And the reason for that is, like you were hinting at, that this new ownership group came in and they said, we're committed to winning. And then they got Andrew Friedman, which was maybe the biggest acquisition that they've made, because, they said, hey, go be really good. You know how you were great at this job in Tampa Bay with no money? Go be just as great, but also here's a lot of money to do it. And hire all your smart friends to help you do it. And just, we'll pay all these guys a bunch of money to just be smart and help put together the best team possible. And in every single way that you can build a team, which is drafting. Dodgers never draft. They haven't drafted in the top 10 in the draft since they got Clayton Kershaw.
That's crazy.
I don't know if they've even been in the top 20 since then in the draft. They just are always at the bottom of the draft, and yet they draft good players. And then they develop players well. They draft guys in the 5th round and turn them into good players. They identify talent in other organizations and say, hey, we got this really good hitter named Matt Beatty. How about we'll take that two-way guy, River Ryan, off your hands, And then they say, we see something. Hey, we've got Michael Busch, who doesn't have a position on our team. We think he's going to be really good. We think he can hit. And they were right about that, but they didn't have a position. So they maximized the value for him and got 2 guys who could turn out to either be good big leaguers or trade chips to build the team the next way. They're good at trades. They're good at free agent signings. Even that, like you mentioned, Steve Cohen, who goes out and he spends a lot of money. He gets free agents. Like, how many people are being paid by Steve Cohen to play for not the Mets right now? There's a lot, It's just, he's not getting the right guys. The Dodgers, with some exceptions, but even like Tanner Scott, he was bad last year, but it wasn't a bad signing necessarily, partly because he could be good the next 3 years. And also he's not a clubhouse cancer. Like,
I was going to say, we hear a lot about finding the right people, not only on the field, but that mix in that clubhouse. And I think that's the big change. I mean, we heard like in the kind of early part and getting through the Mattingly era, it wasn't always the least toxic clubhouse with Puig and Kemp and Ethier, mostly those first two kind of butting some heads. Good. You can get into Greinke in the mix in there a little bit too. Just kind of the pieces didn't fit, but then you get Doc, you have JT become that general in the clubhouse, and that has kind of continued to play into Max Muncy being a dude, Mookie being a dude, Freddie always being a dude that take that clubhouse, make it where people, they understand you have a role on this team. Everybody is as important as the next guy, a Will Klein type of dude or whatever. This is why I think, and this is going off on a random tangent, and I'll let you get back to what you were saying, but with the Mets, this is where I think they kind of wanted to purge. They had a lot of dudes from the previous regime before David Stearns that they're just like, look, this kind of ain't working. We're hearing about clubhouse toxicity and all that kind of stuff, and they want to find a way to sort of start from ground zero and maybe do like Steve Cohen said after he bought the team. We need to emulate the Dodgers. Well, you do it by starting with that, this organization, but there's also clubhouse, there's people, there is character, and there's mental toughness for Richie.
Hashtag mental toughness. Dodger Blue asked, would the Dodgers be in the same position if they went with Gabe Kapler as their manager instead of Dave Roberts? I don't think so. I think Dave Roberts.
How many managers do you think we would have gone through by now?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Giants who did hire, well, the Phillies hired Gabe Kapler, and then the Giants did. Like, I mean, there's every team is just cycling through managers, and the Dodgers are like, hey, we've got this guy who is the best manager of people in baseball, and he's pretty good at the baseball side of things too. Just, it's just one of the many things they've done right. And part of me thinks maybe they're just lucky. Like, they luck into Andrew Friedman? I don't know. Because Friedman was only even available because Joe Madden went to the Cubs. Because Friedman had in his deal that if Joe Madden left the team, he could leave too. And so the Dodgers got Friedman because of that. Or was it vice versa? Was it Friedman left and one of those? Maybe Madden went to the Cubs because Friedman left for the Dodgers. Either way, it's like,
that sounds more
the Dodgers
right.
identified Andrew Friedman as this guy has been great at his job with no money. Imagine what he could do with money. And he's taken that challenge and run with it. They identified Dave Roberts as this guy can connect with people. And like that's what they needed. And that's what they got in Dave Roberts. We have a super chat from Seth Klein. Luckily, I speak Seth Klein, so I can translate this to English. $2. He says, maybe MLB needs to give every team Andrew Friedman for parity's sake.
That's what that was.
Yeah. I speak Seth. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
$10 super chat from our buddy Pat Dwyer. Andy Ibanez and Ryan Fitzgerald signings are not sexy, but if they're being added to the 40-man, the Dodgers see at least some potential upside. I don't think they're lucky. The guys they pick have potential. And
I mean, there's some luck that goes into all of this. You'd rather be lucky than good. What is Yogi Berra's thing? The other half is, or some of it's physical, the other half is mental. You also got to be lucky.
Baseball's 90% physical, the other half is mental.
Yeah. But you got to also be lucky. You got to have some luck.
Absolutely. And that's, I mean, as Dodger fans, we know that better than anybody because the Dodgers, how many times have they been the best team in baseball and not won the World Series? Because they didn't get lucky at the right times. I have been thinking about, I think a lot about that 2025 World Series. Because I watch the recaps all the time still.
Yeah, I kind of think you still have a little, maybe just a hair of a problem. We need to wean you off.
At least I don't have the problem of watching the NFL like you. So
listen, I was golfing today. I didn't care. It was the wild card game. If they made it, they advanced, cool. Then football mattered again. I had it on my phone in the golf cart. I'm not a football guy.
Well, good. Anyway, people talk about, like, I've heard so many people saying the Dodgers were lucky to win the World Series last year. Well, every team that has ever won the World Series got at least a little bit lucky. But B, how many times have you heard pitching and defense win championships? And then the Dodgers go out and win a championship with pitching and defense. And people are, oh, they're not lucky. They didn't even hit. They pitching and they defensed. You know, that's how they won the championship. You know, the way you actually win a championship is by scoring more runs than the other team in at least 4 of the 7 games, which is absolutely what the Dodgers did. But yeah, there's a little bit of luck. Like Miguel Rojas, if he had a tiny bit less arm strength, then Isaiah Kiner-Falefa scores on that ball. If Kike Hernandez weighs 10 more pounds, so he throws off Andy Pages' route a little bit more when they make contact, the Dodgers lose the World Series. You know, they're all things, sort of things could have been different, but it wasn't. But yeah, every team gets lucky to win. And that's why you have to enjoy every time they do win, because the fact is it's very unlikely that the Dodgers are going to win a 3rd World Series title in a row, no matter who they sign. They could sign all the good players this offseason, and they could go out and win 111 games next year, and they could get swept by the D-backs. The year they won 111 games, I guess that was the year they lost in 4 games to the Padres. But the point remains, you know what? If you don't get lucky at the right time, or if another team does get lucky at the right time, things can fall apart. But the reason this is the golden age of Dodger baseball is because Dodgers ownership is committed to putting the team in position to make their own luck as often as possible.
Yeah. And as we've said a number of times, go ahead.
You're going to get lucky more often if you have better players.
And you give your better players better opportunity to find their potential and get good. I was actually having this conversation with some baseball minded buddies of mine. One of them, unfortunately, an Angels fan. Thoughts and prayers to him. But a massive difference between the Dodgers and in the Angels, where I was in Orange County today and making fun of the Angels, which I love to do. The Dodgers invest in that organization. We've said it time and time again, whether it's having more scouts, and those scouts are out there to identify a River Ryan type of dude and that potential, or whoever they got. I can't remember right now for Mitch White. Was that River Ryan? River Ryan was
the Matt Beatty trade.
Miss Beatty. Anyways, regardless of the matter, whether it's adding more scouts, more talent evaluators, whether it's building new lucrative facilities or upgrading their own at Dodger Stadium and at Camelback to maximize the potential of these people, whether it's actually feeding their players a good, healthy, nutritious, big boy meal, all of that stuff. Every organization can do it. The Dodgers do it better than everybody. And that's how they're able to have this kind of sustained success. And I will say, before we get into your next thing or the super chats we have, appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Sorry I was late here on the Sunday.
Were you late? I didn't even notice.
Well, it was one of those, not 6-7, but one of those 50-50 things about whether or not I was going to make it. But I don't remember. I lost my train of thought. Dodgers good. Dodgers invest. And that's why they're so good.
Nick Frasso was who the Dodgers got in the Mitch White trade. That one hasn't totally paid off yet, but it had a chance to pay off. Yeah, he turned into a top prospect.
It still can. He remains in the organization. They did is it non-tender or they DFA him? Either way, he was removed from the 40-man, re-signed. Now will be a year and a half, 2 years removed from that shoulder surgery. There's still hope.
Yep, there is hope. A couple super chats. $2 from Pat Dwyer. Says luck is where opportunity meets preparation. Absolutely. Even then, sometimes luck is just luck. The fact that, that you look at both of those, especially that Padres series that the Dodgers lost in 2022, there was some bad luck there involved. And, it happens sometimes. Enigma 499 says, when it's all said and done, will Dave Roberts go down as a greater manager in Dodger history than Tommy Lasorda? What do you think, Clint?
When I first saw it, I was like, yeah, he should. He has done more. He's won more for the organization in lesser amount of time. But I don't know. Will his story be told the same? Will it have the same? Will Doc have the same lore that Tommy has had in this organization. I think that's what it's going to come down to. On paper, yes, 100%. But about the story, I don't know. I think that is obviously still being written.
Yeah, Dave Roberts has a much different personality than Tommy Lasorda. Tommy Lasorda was the Dodgers, and he loved that, and till the day he died, and so yeah, Dave Roberts on the field, yes, he's had more success than Tommy Lasorda. He's even he's a better people manager than Tommy Lasorda. But Lasorda knew how to certain guys. He knew how to get them fired up the right way. There's a decent chance that if he had managed some guys differently, maybe their careers go differently. Fernando Valenzuela or Hershiser are both Hall of Fame talents who their arms fell off in their 20s. But the fact that it's even a conversation is telling. Tommy Lasorda is a legit Hall of Fame manager. Dave Roberts is joining him in the Hall of Fame as soon as he's eligible. Yep. Now that he's won 3 World Series, 3.5, with an asterisk, Dave Roberts, Hall of Fame manager. Dirty Don, $1.99. I'm a 49ers Dodgers fan. Those exist, right? There's a lot of those. People who, especially people a little bit younger than me, who, I was in high school when the Rams and the Raiders left LA. The Raiders went back to Oakland. Rams went to St. Louis. And so for most of my adult life, there were no NFL teams in LA. And so, as a Dodger fan, if you're an LA sports fan and you're looking for an NFL team, and you don't have a tie to the Rams or Raiders because you weren't old enough to care when they left, the 49ers, they're a reasonable choice because if you just look at proximity, they were close. I think most
second closest. Nobody wants to be a Chargers fan. Nobody wanted to be a San Diego Chargers fan
or Arizona Cardinals fan. 49ers make sense, I guess. I've never lived in LA or even in LA County, and so I don't know how real the LA San Francisco rivalry is. My understanding is that San Francisco hates LA a lot more than LA hates San Francisco. And so, you probably wouldn't find a Giants fan who was a fan of the, whichever, pick a LA football team, or a Giants and Lakers fan, probably living in San Francisco. You're probably not going to find that. But I think there's quite a few Dodgers 49ers fans. As long as you're not one of those 49ers fans who chants beat LA when they're playing the Rams.
I was going to say that.
Because Dodger fans should never say the phrase beat LA. But beyond that, like whoever you want to like.
Root for your team. Don't root for hating the other team. We got another football one, by the way, if you want to hit that last super chat from Noah, because he says, let's go Rams, and he forgives me for being late. Again, I didn't even know if I was going to be on the show at that point in time, but we are here, and get used to it or something like that. But
and Raul Robles says, $1.99 super chat says, wait, clutch hitting home runs is luck? Sure, okay. Yeah, you know what? Dodgers got it done when they needed to get it done. And the fact is, the Blue Jays, between games 2 and 3, they scored, 4 runs in 27 innings? Blue Jays weren't tearing the cover off the ball either. And the Dodgers had timely hitting. They had clutch hitting. They did what they needed to do to win, and it was fun. Dirty Don, another $1.99. I'll never say beat LA. Good.
Never say that. Never say beat LA, no matter what other team or sport you are watching. What else we got going on in the chat, by the way? A whole bunch of people in here. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us, having conversations with each other. We don't know what they're all about because we're talking.
Believe it or not, Richie is throwing in a hashtag mental toughness.
Mental toughness, baby. That's what hits homers. Mental toughness.
Yeah.
Mental toughness is this is one of the things I talked about yesterday too. Mental toughness is what wills somebody like Miggy Rowe to complete that play where he could have fallen on his ass and Dodgers lose that World Series, but no, he stayed up enough, got enough on that throw, and thankfully Will got his spike back down.
Yep, and absolutely. I said this in the Discord today too. Which, by the way, remember, if If you want to join our Discord, go to patreon.com/realfrg. $5 a month, you can get in on our Discord and have all these conversations with us in real time. Nobody's saying mental toughness isn't important, but playing ability is more important, A. And B, none of us as fans are in any position to have any idea which players possess or don't possess mental toughness. That's my big issue with #mental toughness is I don't know. You don't know. Richie doesn't know. None of us know if Kyle Tucker is mentally tough, if Miguel Rojas is mentally tough, if Yasiel Puig is mentally tough. We can all guess based on what we've seen, but all we're doing is guessing. And you think of how many things somebody who doesn't know you might get wrong about you by looking at you, looking at the way you podcast, like all the wrong assumptions people make about you, Clint. It's like, you don't know me, So those are my issues with #mental toughness. We're not in a position to judge it.
Looking at you podcast, I don't think you have mental toughness.
That's true. And I never claimed to have mental toughness, and that's good.
Don't care 187. Hey, Clint, does Glass now have mental toughness? He has ability. I don't know if he has mental toughness. Ask the mound in Philadelphia last April.
Man, it was one day. It was one day. Like,
we all have bad days.
Yeah, and we don't even was he bad because he was upset, or was he upset because he was bad? And those are very different things. So, yeah, it's Anything else in the chat that we need to?
Well, it is. Then we should definitely listen to Diane. And Diane, by the way, we'll message you back. I got to return a text to Diane, who's trying to do something very, very sweet and nice for a fan of our All Dodgers. But she says smash that like button for Clint and Jeff. You guys should absolutely do that. Trying to get to 22,000 subscribers here on the channel. I'd appreciate it if you guys can help us get there before spring training. It would mean a lot to us. And also liking the show, sharing with your friends, your family, rating and reviewing the podcast, all that stuff. Help the show continue to grow. Couldn't have done it for the first 21 and change without you.
Absolutely.
That's science.
$5 more from Pat Dwyer. Random semi-Dodgers related question. Do you guys think anyone will sign Walker Buehler?
I was looking at that. I was thinking about Buehler because I saw his wife posting some stuff on the social media, just kind of fielding some fans, questions from fans asking like the toughness of not mental, but the toughness of having to move around, bounce around. Obviously, suddenly they have moved around now 3 different cities in the last year and a half. I don't know if the market is crazy for Walker Buehler right now, coming off of that not very good season, was not a part of the Philly at least postseason plan. I don't even know if he was on their roster, but
he was on the roster. But yeah, he probably would have thrown to first on that comebacker. Yeah.
You know what I like better is experience. That plays up a lot higher than the whole mental toughness thing for sure. They all work together, synergy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I expect Buehler will have a job, but it's I think he's going to have to prove something to some people. He's going to have to battle that.
I hope they don't do minor league deal. That would suck for everything that he's done already in his career. Just some bad team. Yeah, I don't know. I could see like the Rangers picking him up. Not to say that they're a bad team. They're not a good team. Rangers adding him. He'll be close to his boy Clayton Kershaw there in the Dallas area. Why not?
Why not? Hey, $2 super chat from Godzilla just to tell people to like and subscribe, please. Thank you, Godzilla.
Thank you very much. You know what? That's worth a gong in all of these. Appreciate that. With the old school 76 logo.
Yeah.
I'm assuming at the start of the show you talked before. We should hit that about sign off point, but I'm just curious right now while we're here. I'm assuming you mentioned the Bregman stuff.
Yeah, I mentioned that the Cubs signed Bregman. That was kind of it. Like, I didn't mention what a big day that was in the Kevin Skinner household. His favorite team signing his favorite player. That's a big deal for Kevin. We know who Kevin's next Cubs jersey is going to be.
Oh yeah, definitely. His favorite Alex Bregman and his favorite Chicago Cubs What a guy. Give it up for Kevin's Kitchen. Oh, by the way, I don't know if people saw, I added new emojis for our YouTube members, supporters. There is now a Jeff emoji. There is a Kevin's Kitchen emoji. There are other things. Check those out. Use them if you want. Just reminded me that we had those in there. But
is
Kevin
Justin
will be around
Turner
though
a
this
free
week.
agent right now?
He is.
Okay.
I'll say that's the next one. I wonder if JT is going to find a gig.
Yeah, I wonder too. I was just wondering because he wore number 3 for the Cubs last year, and I think Bregman wears number 3, doesn't he?
He did with Boston, I think. Yeah, he wears 3. He wears 3.
Yeah.
You know who would know? You know who would know? Kevin.
Yeah, he
Alex
would.
Bregman's a
Oh no,
fan.
he wears number 2.
2?
Is that?
2 is almost
that's
3.
Nico Horner's number. Interesting. Maybe that's why the Cubs need to trade Nico Horner to clear up the uniform number for old Alex Bregman.
Oh man, I remember having Nico Horner trade conversations last winter. Now suddenly, maybe it's a thing. Maybe it is. Holy hell, he had a great year.
He had a great wins. I mean, a lot of it was the defense. He had a good offensive season and a great defensive season. But,
hey, give me a 297 hitter that can post 6-win season based on defense at second base.
It doesn't strike out. Look at that strikeout rate, 7.6%.
Maybe that's been our guy we needed the whole time. It was never going to be Duran or Stephen Kwan. Maybe it was always Nico Horner. Cubs.
He has played some outfield earlier in his career. He played some left and center field in 2020 and 2021. So,
has he played third?
He
has played 8 games at third base at the big league level.
Yep. Yeah. So
you're telling me there's a chance.
Yeah. Can't hit home runs very much, but you know what? Doesn't strike out. Puts the bat on the ball. Runs pretty fast. Yeah. Bring me Nico Horner.
That's it. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Diane just put all the it won't work for us here on the stream, but Diane just put all of the new emojis up on the chat, so that's pretty cool to see an array of emoji. Nico Horner. Okay, I'm trying to find out. 303 with that's 2 outs. So he's got clutch, which means he has mental toughness. Last year, he hits with runners in scoring position. He hits late and close. He hits in a tie game. He hits when the team's ahead. He hits when the team's behind. He hits in leverage. All right, here's our guy. We are now Nico Horner truthers.
1 year left on his deal. $12 million.
He hit 371 with runners in scoring position. 881 OPS last year.
Go get him, Doyers.
51 ribbies with runners in scoring. Why not? Why not?
Go get Nico
Why not
Horner.
us?
Yeah. I'm on board.
We'll change from why not both to why not Nico?
Well, why not all 3?
Well,
but,
I don't know if you saw. I upset some people by cooling my jets a little bit yesterday, and saying maybe the money's a bit much. Maybe we're getting a little crazy.
Yeah, and maybe. But yeah, I could go for a Kyle Tucker and a Nico Horner.
How about Nico
Kyle
Horner
Tucker,
and
Nico
Harrison
Horner,
Bader?
Edwin Diaz. That is an off season.
That's a very good off season.
Yeah.
Final super chat, and we'll hit the road.
Yeah, we got another one.
We got Raul 999 super chat. I'll hit the gong while you find it. Asking any plans to check out an Ontario Tower buzzer game, repping the IE. For me, absolutely. I'm very much looking forward to getting out there. I am terrified of it being popular. I loved Rancho. I really like that ballpark. Dodger fans don't really go out there. It is very easy to find yourself seats. Even on bobblehead nights get crazy there. People show for the bobbleheads and they just leave. I'm worried about all of the hype, all the pomp, and all the circumstance, and all the Ontario being a little bit closer to LA. I think it's going to be really busy, and it gives me the EB grossies.
Remember that? I think it was season 4 of 24 when Jack Bauer gets from LA to Ontario Airport in 15 minutes. Like, of all the unrealistic things about that excellent show, that was the most unrealistic.
Even if there was no traffic.
Yeah.
Even if the freeway was completely empty, you need to be breaking some laws.
Yeah.
At least one law.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's funny.
And then there's terrorists at the airport, and he's on the phone with CTU, and he's very clearly giving them a code, and everybody watching the show can tell I am in a left flank position. I repeat, I am in a left flank position. Everybody knows he's giving him a code except for the people at CTU who he's talking to. They're like, okay, cool. Left flank, got it. Like,
yeah. All of this.
Yeah, I love that show. It's a good show.
I don't watch these things. Isn't that another one of those shows that kind of jumped the shark? I mean, jumped the shark there, getting from
it
LAX,
probably
Ontario.
did. Like they did 8 seasons, and by about season 5 or 6, it was kind of the same thing. Season 3 of 24, one of the greatest seasons of any television show ever. It is so good. So you go watch it, man. It's a good way to kill some time.
Well, right now, as the people in the Discord know, I've been killing time with the Legend of Zelda, playing the Tears of the Kingdom. I got it for the old lady last year for Christmas, and 2024 for Christmas. So 2 Christmases ago, and I finally found a little bit of time for us to start playing it. And it's been mostly me playing it and playing way too much. There's way too much stuff to do, but shout out for your boy. It's exactly what I'm going to be doing right after we sign off here.
Excellent. I am going to.
Hyrule needs me.
I'm going to be going to bed because I got to be up in 8.5 hours because I got a job. But I love my job.
Got jobs.
And
got jobs.
I do now have an office at my job. And so if a Kyle Tucker signing happens during the day, it's literally a closet, but it's big enough for me to sit at a desk in an office chair. So, I joke that I'm going to change my name to Dining Room Supplies so we don't have to pay for a new sign outside the door. If news breaks of, say, a Kyle Tucker signing in the middle of the day, I can say, hey, I'm taking a break, and I can go up to my closet and we can do us a podcast in real time. So that'll be good. I won't have to go sit in my car. I will still have my chef coat on though.
Well, that works. We definitely we'll figure out your on location audio as you come from us in the closet.
I'm going to take this hat and just leave it there in my closet on the shelf so that if I do need to do a podcast, I can throw a hat on.
I think that's literally putting a hat on a hat.
Literally.
I have to look up there. Up there, by the way, to see where you're at.
Hey,
all right,
Clint,
guys. Yeah,
I'm glad that you eventually showed up tonight. This was fun. I am glad that the Dodgers have ownership that makes baseball decisions and not money decisions. And you know what? They're not ruining baseball. They are showing every other team what baseball should be like. And it's up to the other teams now to listen and pay attention and step up their games, because right now the Dodgers are going to keep running away from it if they're the only team willing to make baseball decisions instead of money decisions, to focus on the WL instead of the P&L, you know, put it on a t-shirt, baby.
Yeah. Put that on a t-shirt. Only that's like the baseballism one where you need to know the 2 + 4, whatever,
6 + 4 + 3 = 2.
Yeah, that's the one. I forgot what they're 2 + 2 is 4. That's it. That's all my hashtag math, baby.
Hashtag math, baby. Hey, thank you all for hanging out with us on a Sunday night. We appreciate all of you. The chat was hopping. The super chats were awesome. We appreciate all of that. Fun to be back doing the Sunday night thing. Like I said at the beginning, we've got spring training is like a month away. And so I think we can safely say that all Dodgers After Dark in the morning on Saturdays and Sunday evening shows are back. I think we are back for 2026. Count on us. Most weekends between now and, say, November, we'll be talking Dodgers, and we'll be here during the week a little bit too, get some Kevin involved, and hopefully have some midday Jeff in his closet shows to talk about signing Kyle Tucker and trading for Nico Hoerner, right?
Nico, that's it. This is the Nico Hoerner podcast. We love you, Nico. Come home. Wait,
and let's face it, the Dodgers, the city of Los Angeles sports teams have good success with trades involving people named Nico.
I'm lost.
Isn't the Dallas Mavericks general manager named Nico? The guy who traded, what's his name?
Big time basketball guy
to the Lakers. Yeah, I remember everything except the name of the guy, the superstar guy. Hold on, I'm going to remember it. It's not Drazen Petrovic.
Are you talking about Luka?
Luka Doncic, yeah.
Yeah. You're trying to get there.
Yeah, I got there.
Oh my.
Anyway,
hey, one more thing. If you guys want more Dodgers talk tomorrow, 12 p.m. Pacific time, Dodgers territory. Alana is away, so Katie and I will play, and of course, I'll be asking her about all of her juicy insider baseball stuff because she knows people. So tune in get your thoughts and questions and all that kind of stuff in the chat. We have a good one lined up, and I'm also going to ask her a whole bunch about Nico Horner and see if that can happen. But
absolutely. Enigma $2 just says shout out to the mods. Thank you, Enigma. Shout out to the mods. Shout out to all of you in the chat. Thank you to Bleav Network for having us. Thank you to FanDuel for presenting the show. If you want to join the conversation, go to patreon.com/realfrg. You can talk Dodgers with us in our Discord server for just $5 a month. It is a lot of fun, so check that out. We will be back sometime this week, probably the three of us, me and Clint and Kevin, talking Dodgers more. And with all that said, I think the only thing left to say is bye.